Hi, good evening guys. This is Daniel from Gardenscape Designs, and today we want to look at the rooting system for the bromeliads, both epiphytes, terrestrial, the purpose of their root systems, how important is the root systems and what is the function of the roots. We want to look at how to remove pups and how to pot them as well. And the reason why we are doing this particular video is because I've been having some conversations with some excited new collectors, new newbies, and some of them have the opinion that you need to have a properly rooted plant upon purchase, or if someone is giving you a gift, they believe that you're supposed to have roots on the bromeliad. So we just want to run through the system and just to clear the air on this particular topic. So first thing first, I want to begin with bromeliads and the roots. Now last week on our feature My Garden, My Home, when we touched on the video new grant, I would have mentioned what a bromeliad is, right? And I did mention that the roots are used to latch onto trees. This is the main function of the epiphytic bromeliads. The roots are used to latch onto the trees. Now the plants would usually get the nutrients through the cups and through the leaves, alright? But the roots are generally to stabilize the plant onto the trees. They don't feed, they are not parasites, right? They just live onto the trees. The trees are their home. However, there are some bromeliads that need to go into the ground, that need to go in something a bit more solid. Some of them that cannot do well on trees, like the alcantharias and the pineapples, they are terrestrial bromeliads. So, roots of the bromeliads. Now, we are collectors, right? And we collect these tropical plants from the rainforest. Some of them bred in labs. Some of them are created by hybridizers. We collect these particular plants, and to display them and to keep them, some of us would latch them onto the trees in the same manner. You know, we staple them onto the trees, we tie them, we wrap them, but most of us would actually put them into pots. Now, when you take these plants and you put them into the pots, what it is you're actually doing, the plant will actually readapt to the pots. So no longer is the roots used to latch on to the tree. The roots will now become as a regular plant, where it will pick up nutrients, where it will pick up water, etc. Now, as I said, the main aspect of this topic is the fact that some people believe that once it is you have a bromeliad, when you get in a new bromeliad, it must have roots. And I say that that is not so. So, let's say for instance, we have this particular plant, right? We're going to take it out of the potting mix here. Right? So, I want to take off these particular pups. Now, some folks would mention that when it is they purchase plants, they probably might purchase plants. Now, mind you, Gardenscape Designs don't have this problem because we like to talk, we like to educate, we like to communicate. But for some other sellers, for some other people, they probably might have that issue. So, the thing about it, when it is removing these pups, you need to be very careful. Usually, some of the plants will have a stem at the base of the pup, right? A stem coming from the base of the pup. You will find them more on the achemeas. You would find them on some of the new. Actually, this is a stem, but it is very close to the mother. Now, sometimes you would see on videos and stuff when it is I'm doing pup removals and stuff, I would just put my hand inside, I would feel for where the stem meets and connect to the mother, and I'll pull and grab. Now, sometimes if it is you try that, you could break the plant. And by breaking the plant and stuff, it will damage the stem, so it will not be able to produce roots. It not being able to produce roots, it will eventually die. However, if it is you remove this when the plant is 1/3 the size of the mother, when it is 1/3 the size of the mother, sometimes it is a little bit smaller, but once it is on average 1/3 the size of the mother and you remove it properly, it should be good to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this pup. So I'm coming very close to the mother here and I'm just going to prise this off. So I got some roots on this particular plant. So let's just clear some of this mix. By the way, this is Pro Mix with chipwood. So I got some roots on the plant here. Right? So is this a well-rooted plant? Perhaps to some. For me, no. The thing about it is that this particular root system has now been disturbed. Bromeliads do not like their root systems to be disturbed. No, what you're going to happen is that some people will try to cut as much roots as possible and take it off and then repot it. Okay, the plant might survive or whatever you want. It is you have an airy mix. An aerated mix meaning that air would pass through the mixture properly and it would have sufficient moisture in the roots. Bromeliads love moisture. So we live in Trinidad in a tropical country, and the heat would actually often dry out the moisture from inside of the pot. So by misting it or adding premix or some cocoa peat, it would ensure that the roots stay relatively moist enough for it to actually produce new roots. Now this particular root structure, as I mentioned, it has been disturbed. So if it is that it has too much roots, and I try to put this in this 6-inch pot, and I actually put this, again, we live in a tropical country, so sometimes we have a lot of rain. In the rainy season, what it is you're going to find is that these roots could get soggy, they could rotten, break down, and all of a sudden you find that the plant not looking as healthy as it should be. Now the roots, when it is you actually look at a plant, you could look at a plant and look at how the leaves would actually give it that glow, that shine. The roof is the life of the actual plant. It would, healthy roots means a healthy plant, all right? But in a situation like what I was explaining before, if it is that you have a whole lot of roots inside here, these roots, once it is disturbed, they're not going to actually grow. It's not like if this root going to continue to actually grow. It's going to actually shoot new roots from the base of the stem. So with this, with these old roots here, I could actually cut these off. I could cut these clean off. Right? By cutting these roots off, I would actually give the plant a better actually chance of growing new roots. If it is you want quick roots and you probably might lack a little patience, you could use something like Rootex. You could use Rootex, chemical hormone, or you could go natural. You could use ground cinnamon. This is for any sort of fungus that you might have on your stem. You could use this, or you could actually use this to actually help to root the plants as well. So in a situation like this, I have discarded that old roots. We don't need that. We don't need those roots. Those roots serves no purpose. When it is you actually import plants, most of the time they are bare rooted, so they come with no roots. The main thing, and one of the problems that I think that people would have, is that when it is they try to break it, they would break on the top of the stem up here, and that's going to cause problems for the plants. What's going to happen? The plant will die, or it would break so high, break so deep, that it would just think that it's dying, stress it, and it's going through some sort of stress, and it would just eventually pop. Something that other people would actually do, they would skin the bottom here, pull off these leaves, skin the bottom, and you would see some roots at the base here. I don't usually skin the plants or whatever, I put them like that, but if it is you skin the base, you would see some roots at the bottom here that is exposed, so it would actually burst out easy. Again, I don't usually practice that. There are some people who practice it, it would work for them, fine, it's not a problem at all. In putting these, you want an aerated mix. A mix that is not like wood shavings, that would be too damp and moist, and it could cause root rot. It could cause rot to your stem. So you want something like wood chips. I have pumice and wood chips here. Now, to promote root growth, you need to make sure that the bromeliad is packed very tightly. That when it is you put in your wood chips, that it is compressed very tightly. The bromeliad do not want to be shifting all over the place. When the bromeliad shifts all over the place, what happens is that it is not stable, they don't have a proper footing, and if something don't have a proper footing, just like a building, it could actually move, it could actually shake. So you want this as tight as possible. So what some folks would do, they would actually wet this mix, create moisture in this area here, and compress the roots, but I'm not doing that today, right? Try putting it in a small pot. As I said, bromeliads love their roots compressed. So even though the plant would have a large root system, and it would go probably up to like a 12-inch pot for maximum size, always start by putting it into a small pot and keep the roots compressed, people. Keep the roots compressed. So with these roots tightly compressed, with the moisture, with some moisture as well, the roots like humidity with some moisture, this plant could grow a healthy root system. Some people would put fertilizer in it at the start. Time release fertilizer, it would release when it is the plant needed. Fine. I would probably put it a little bit later on down because it have no roots. Another technique that you could actually use to create roots on your plants, guys. I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and it is by placing the pups within your mother plants, right? There are enzymes and stuff, and this water is very, very healthy to create new roots for some plants. That is, not all plants would actually be able to create the roots as fast as right? Big, large plants would take longer to create roots than smaller plants. I placed this plant 5 days ago. 5 days ago. Take a look. 5 days ago, I placed this in water inside of here. I took it out from a mix and I put it in the alkalinity, and I noticed that a root started to burst from at the base of the stem. Let's just say if it is that this plant broke off from here, again, the plant will no longer be good. It go into the pot, it die, it don't have no roots. So you repot in the plant, it don't have no roots. No roots, no problem, guys. So as I mentioned just now, bigger plants, the root systems take a bit longer to produce. So even if it is that you're making a mistake, remember a couple of months ago, I had a big plant with like about 5 pups on it, and I was showing somebody how to actually put the hand inside and cut from on the inside without clearing it, but my mistake, he actually cut the entire stem off. I mean, it was like, geez bro, you cut the entire stem off, but guess what? This particular, I used Rootex on the plant and it was able to send roots very, very fast. Now, you would find some small plants with some big root systems and some big plants with some small root system. I don't know all, not everybody don't know everything with regards to the root system. So it's just a matter of trial and error. So let's just say White Walker Albo, I know that that's a big root system. Vitus, that has a big root system. There's a plant by the name of Johannes de Rolf. That plant can get to about 1 meter wide, but it has a small root system. So you can get a big Johannes in a small pot. Some plants are like that. Key thing, remember to compress the roots. Make sure that the roots are compressed. You take this plant and you put it in a wide pot like that, it will grow roots. This is a 10-inch pot. It will grow roots, but it would grow roots at a slower rate, sorry, because the roots are not compressed, right? This is my feature, and I hope that you all actually learn something from it, for the newbies especially and stuff like that. No roots, no problem. Remember that. You just need to follow some of these steps and then you'll be fine. This is Daniel from Gardenscape Designs. Be safe, be blessed.